Shalom, my friends. Zev here, and it is truly a blessing to share this moment with each of you. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover a principle so deeply woven into the tapestry of Jewish life, so ancient in its wisdom that it makes the bustling markets of Wall Street seem like a fleeting whisper in comparison. We're going to explore something that doesn't just promise financial well-being, but offers a profound pathway to enduring peace and prosperity, a peace that resonates far beyond the numbers on a screen. In our modern world, the pursuit of financial gain often feels like a relentless marathon. We are constantly barraged with messages about what we lack, what we must acquire, how much more we need to be truly secure. This incessant focus on accumulation, on the next big acquisition, can leave us feeling perpetually restless, always chasing, never quite arriving. But what if the deepest, most resilient form of wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by what you see? What if true financial wisdom lies not in how expertly you chase returns, but in how profoundly you recognize the value that already exists? Let me transport you, not to the familiar cobbled streets of a shtetl, or the academic debates of ancient scholars, but to a vast, vibrant marketplace that existed long, long ago. This was a place where merchants from every corner of the known world converged, bringing their wares, their stories, and their ambitions. Here, amidst the clamor and the colorful chaos, lived three individuals whose lives, though distinct, would beautifully illustrate an ancient Jewish truth: the power of Hakarat Hatov, the deep and abiding recognition of the good. Our first perspective is that of Miriam, the spice merchant. Miriam was a woman of sharp intellect and even sharper senses. Her stall, fragrant with exotic aromas, was always meticulously arranged. She understood the intricacies of demand and supply, the subtle shifts in taste, and the art of a fair negotiation. Miriam was a master of her craft, and her success was a testament to her diligence and foresight. Yet, there was a quiet worry that often shadowed her keen eyes. She constantly anticipated the next challenge: a late shipment, a sudden change in market prices, a rare spice becoming unavailable. Her focus, while practical and necessary, was often on potential pitfalls, on what could go wrong, on the things she needed to secure or acquire to maintain her standing. She managed her inventory, her relationships with suppliers, and her capital with impeccable care, but underlying it all was a subtle current of anxiety about future scarcity. She worked tirelessly to prevent losses and ensure growth, always measuring her success by the security of her future provisions. Next, we meet Devorah, the storyteller. Devorah didn't trade in goods, she traded in narratives. Her corner of the marketplace was often surrounded by eager listeners, captivated by her tales of faraway lands, heroic deeds, and timeless parables. Devorah lived simply, her wealth not measured in coin but in the richness of her imagination and the joy she brought to others. She had a unique gift. She saw stories everywhere. In a worn-out shoe, she saw the journey it had taken. In a simple act of kindness, she saw a profound human connection. When others lamented the dust on the ground, Devorah would observe how it settled, creating patterns, a fleeting art. Her way of seeing was one of constant acknowledgement, not just of the grand and obvious, but of the minute, the overlooked, the quietly profound. She understood that every moment, every interaction, held an inherent value, a small piece of beauty or wisdom, if only one chose to truly see it. She carried no ledger, but her spirit was overflowing with riches that no market could influence. Finally, there was Shimon, the young apprentice. Shimon was energetic, eager, and still learning the ropes of the marketplace. He worked for a seasoned fabric merchant, lugging bolts of cloth, learning the art of haggling and absorbing the wisdom of his elder. Shimon was ambitious, just like many young people today. He watched the successful merchants, Miriam included, with awe and a desire to emulate their prosperity. His dream was to one day have a stall as grand as Miriam's, overflowing with the finest silks and rarest dyes. He often felt a sense of impatience, a longing for the future when he would have more, be more. He diligently saved his meager earnings, constantly comparing his small coin purse to the bulging pouches of the established merchants. He saw what he didn't have, and this vision of lack, while driving him, also sometimes filled him with a quiet dissatisfaction. He was always striving for the next step, the next level of achievement, convinced that happiness lay just beyond his current grasp. One day, a sudden fierce storm swept through the region. The rivers overflowed, roads became impassable, and for weeks, no new shipments could reach the marketplace. Supplies dwindled rapidly. Panic began to spread among the merchants. Miriam, the spice merchant, found her meticulous plans disrupted. Her reserves were finite. She began to calculate her losses, her anxiety growing with each passing day. She had worked so hard to secure her future, yet here was a force beyond her control threatening everything. She saw the market drying up, the future looking bleak, and her focus narrowed to the impending shortages. Devora, the storyteller, watched the rising water not with despair, but with a different kind of gaze. She saw the villagers helping each other, sharing what little food they had, their communal spirit shining brighter than ever. She noticed the resilience of the ancient marketplace itself, its wooden beams holding firm against the wind, a testament to the foresight of its original builders. She saw the calm determination in the eyes of the elders who had weathered many storms before. She began to tell stories not of the scarcity, but of the strength of the community, of the hidden wells of kindness that flowed freely, of the inherent beauty of shared struggle. She recognized the good that was emerging within the hardship itself, the deepened bonds, the acts of spontaneous generosity, the quiet courage of her neighbors. Shimon, the young apprentice, initially felt a surge of fear. His small savings felt even smaller now. His dream of a grand stall seemed to recede into an impossible distance. He saw the empty shelves, the worried faces, and his own sense of inadequacy grew. He wished he had more. Then he could help. Then he would be secure. He felt the weight of his own perceived lack. But then, Shimon overheard Devora speaking. He heard her recount a tale of a tiny sprout pushing through parched earth, not giving up. He watched as she pointed to an old woman sharing her last loaf of bread, not with a sigh of sacrifice but with a warm smile of connection. He saw Devora simply looking at the sky after the rain, not cursing the disruption, but marveling at the newly washed world, the promise of renewal. A spark ignited within Shimon. He began to look at things differently. He noticed the strong hands of his master, patiently mending torn fabrics, finding value even in damaged goods. He noticed the vibrant colors that still remained in the bolts of cloth, even if they couldn't be sold immediately. He saw the deep gratitude in the eyes of a customer who received a small, shared piece of dried fruit from a neighbor. He wasn't doing anything differently in terms of his tasks, but his internal landscape was shifting. He began to apply Hakarat Hatov without even knowing the term. He started recognizing the good in his present moment, the roof over his head, the knowledge he was gaining, the simple fact that he was alive and capable of work. When the storm finally passed and the roads slowly reopened, Miriam, the spice merchant, was the first to organize new shipments. She was efficient and strategic, but this time, something was different. Instead of just calculating profit margins, she spent an extra moment acknowledging the resilience of her suppliers, the determination of the porters who braved the muddy roads, the very abundance of nature that eventually allowed for new growth. She saw not just transactions but connections. She saw not just commodities but gifts. Her meticulous planning was now infused with a deeper appreciation, transforming her anxiety into a quiet confidence rooted in recognition. Shimon, too, approached his work with a newfound vigor. He still dreamed of his grand stall, but the impatience had lessened. He appreciated each bolt of fabric he handled, seeing its inherent beauty and the journey it had taken. He recognized the value in his own labor, in the learning process, in the relationships he was building. His focus shifted from what he lacked to what he possessed: his youth, his health, his opportunities, his developing skills. This appreciation, this Hakarat Hatov, didn't make him less ambitious. It made his ambition more joyful, more grounded, and ultimately more sustainable. He saved with a different spirit now, not from a place of deprivation, but from a place of recognizing the blessing of his current earnings. This is the power of Hakarat Hatov. It's not a passive feeling of thanks, but an active, conscious engagement with the world, seeking out and affirming the inherent goodness and value that often lies hidden beneath the surface of challenges and daily routines. It's about cultivating a lens of appreciation through which you view your entire life, including your financial landscape. In our financial lives, we often succumb to the scarcity mindset. We fixate on the market downturns, the lost opportunities, the wealth we don't have. We pore over quarterly reports, trying to predict the unpredictable, and often this leads to stress, hasty decisions, and a feeling of perpetual dissatisfaction. But imagine if, before every investment decision, before every budget review, before every glance at your bank account, you first paused to practice Hakarat Hatov. What would that look like? It means recognizing the fundamental value of the company you're investing in, beyond its stock price fluctuations. It means appreciating the innovation, the genuine service it provides, the people who work there, the resources it responsibly manages. It means acknowledging the very existence of a financial system that allows for growth and exchange, despite its imperfections. When you look at your own resources, Hakarat Hatov encourages you to appreciate not just the monetary value, but the true capital you possess. Your health, your skills, your education, your ability to learn and adapt, your network of relationships, the roof over your head, the food on your table. These are profound forms of wealth that no market crash can truly erase. This ancient principle empowers us to navigate the inevitable storms of life and finance, not with blind optimism, but with a rooted resilience. When the market dips, instead of panic, Hakarat Hatov invites you to acknowledge the long-term historical trend of growth, the underlying strength of human ingenuity, the constant cycle of innovation and recovery. It's about seeing beyond the immediate ripple to the deep, steady current. Miriam, Devra, and Shimon, through their distinct experiences, each arrived at a profound understanding. True prosperity is not merely about what you accumulate, but about what you actively recognize and cherish. It is this recognition that fuels generosity, fosters resilience, and builds a foundation that is truly unshakable. So, my friends, the next time you find yourself caught in the whirlwind of financial worries, the incessant chase for more, I urge you to pause, take a moment, breathe, and ask yourself, what good do I recognize right now? What blessings, what strengths, what inherent value can I truly see and acknowledge in this very moment, in my own life, in my resources, in the world around me? When you consciously choose this lens of Hakarat Hatov, you will find that your perspective shifts dramatically. Your decisions will be rooted not in fear of what might be lost, but in a deep, abiding appreciation for what truly is. And that, my friends, is a principle older than any market, more profound than any financial theory, and more powerful than any trend. It is the secret to a life of true, enduring prosperity, a life rich in every sense of the word. May your days be filled with an ever-expanding recognition of the good, and may that recognition illuminate your path to true, lasting abundance. Shalom.